Let's play.
Alright, guys, this is Element Quattro, and we are playing a game called Filling Station. It is supposed to be a scary game. CW's for blood, body horror, and teeth. Okay. It's an hour or so after sundown, and you are driving through the middle of nowhere. The last real town you passed through was at least 60 miles back. Since then, the landscape has changed, farmland giving way to grassland, giving way to dirt and scrub and strange, craggy hills. You haven't seen a house in 30 miles at least. It's been 20 minutes or more since you passed another car, but according to Google Maps, you've still got at least 3 hours of driving before you get to where you're planning to stop for the night. You reach down and turn up the volume on your stereo. Your car speakers aren't great. They're plenty loud and they're currently blasting. Ugh, I don't care about any of these. Radar love. You're tapping your hands against the steering wheel, singing along when a light on the dashboard catches your eye. You realize your gas tank is almost empty, which is weird because you would have sworn you had at least half a tank left. But the indicator is glowing yellow, and the needle is already dipping below the E. This is a problem because you are, as mentioned, driving through the middle of nowhere. You have no idea how far it is to the next place where you might be able to get gas. And you've been in and out of cell service for the past 20 miles, so Google Maps isn't going to be any help. The empty road stretches on, craggy hills rising up to points on either side. There could be a town just up ahead, around a bend in the highway. You consider your options. Keep going and hope you're not just heading deeper into the middle of nowhere, or turn around and try to make it back to that town you passed through a while ago. I think we're supposed to keep going. You decide to keep going and hope for the best. You know your car. You know she's got at least 30 more miles in her before things start to getting real dicey. It'll be fine. 5 minutes later, you spot one of those blue highway signs on the side of the road. It says, Filling Station, 2 miles. Score! A minute later, the highway curves around the base of one of those craggy hills and you spot lights up ahead. You breathe a sigh of relief and turn on your blinker. There may not be anyone else on the road, but you're not a fucking animal. Preparing to take the exit. The station itself is a little ways back from the highway. At the entrance to the lot is one of those old school revolving signs. It reads, Filling Station. There are no other buildings around. You give the place a once-over as you drive up to it, ready to make a U-turn and get right back to the highway if you get a weird vibe. On the whole, you've definitely seen sketchier roadside gas stations. This place is clean, well lit, and doesn't smell faintly of weed and or pee. And surprisingly, you're not the only person here. There's another car at one of the pumps, and 2 more cars parked in front of the little mini-mart building. Inside the mini-mart, someone walks past the glass door. You even spot a dog tied up next to the ice machine. Vibe check? Passed. You pull up next to one of the pumps and turn off your car. Now you have a suspicion that this isn't a pay at the pump kind of establishment. And peek at the pump screen, rather its lack thereof, confirms it. You're gonna have to pay inside. You grab your wallet and head for the station's front door. As you get closer to the front door, you notice the following details. 1. The dog is a German Shepherd, and it is sitting on guard, staring at the door to the mini-mart. It looks at you and gives you a polite boof, then looks back at the door. 2. The window on the left is papered with advertisements for local businesses and flyers for sports teams. One flyer, printed on bright purple paper, reads, Go Spider Wolves. What the fuck is a Spider Wolf? 3. From this angle, you see that the road you've taken off the highway doesn't actually stop here at the filling station. It keeps going, winding off between the craggy hills and then disappearing into the darkness. 3. Except it isn't darkness. Suddenly you realize you see lights. Dozens of them. Like maybe there's a town back there among the hills, even though there wasn't anything signposted back on the highway. You squint, trying to make out any details. The dog goes boof again, politely. You look over at it. When you glance back down at the road, you don't see any lights at all. What were you looking at again? Oh, right, at the door. There's one more detail you notice. 4. A handwritten sign on the printer paper. A handwritten sign on printer paper, taped to the inside of the door. It reads, "Card reader broken. Sorry." Luckily, that won't be a problem. You silently congratulate yourself on remembering to take cash out the last time you got groceries, just in case something like this happened on this trip. Pet the dog. You offer the dog your hand to sniff. They seem pleased with the attention, and their tail starts to wag. As they crowd closer to your legs. You give them some ear scritches and good side pets. What a good dog. You pull open the door to the mini mart and step inside. There's a string of little bells attached to the door, and they rattle as the door shuts itself behind you. Immediately, you're hit with a familiar smell of gas station mini mart. It's equal parts car air freshener, corn nuts, rubber, sketchy hot dogs, and old linoleum. Every gas station mini mart you've ever been inside has smelled exactly like this. It's weirdly comforting. The radio is playing Blue Suede's Hooked on a Feeling. It looks like there are a couple of people in line at the register already. You could head up there right away, or you could take advantage of this stop and stock up on road snacks. It's gonna. You head back to the coolers and grab yourself one of those canned espresso drinks. Then you cruise through the candy aisle and treat yourself to some gummy peach rings, sending a silent mental apology to your dentist. You valiantly resist the urge to check out the display of kitschy knickknacks at the end of the aisle. You have enough mugs, and your fridge can only handle so many magnets. Time to head to the register. There are two people already in line as you walk up, a guy in red flannel who looks to be about your age, and an older woman with tanned and wrinkled skin carrying a 24-pack. Just before you reach the line, a third person steps out of the snack food aisle. They're middle-aged, carrying potato chips, Oreos, and a bottle of wine. The two of you make eye contact, and you wave them ahead of you. It seems like they're about to have a pretty great night. You wouldn't want to get in the way of that. You get in line behind them. I'm a good guy. You hear the sound of register drawer opening, and look up towards the front, just in time to see the attendant, an expressionless 20-something with a smudged name tag, sweep the flannel-wearing man's payment off the counter. "Receipt?" asks the attendant. You wince inwardly, recognizing the tone of someone whose soul is no longer inhabiting their body. Ah, customer service. You don't miss it. "No thanks," says the flannel-wearing man, wiping his mouth on the back of his hand. "Have a good night." He turns and makes for the front door. He looks up, your eyes meet for a second, and he gives you a friendly smile and nod before he pushes the door open and steps back out into the night. Bells rattle as it closes behind him. "Next," calls the attendant. The old woman steps up and hefts her 24-pack onto the counter. "Just this, sweetheart," the old woman says. She's got a voice like someone who's smoked 2 packs a day for the last 50 years. You wonder how old she is. The attendant punches something into the register. "Card reader's broken," they say, wrote. Behind them is another handwritten sign. Their shoulder is blocking the first part, but you can see the H only. "Oh, that's fine," says the old woman. She pulls out what looks like a coin purse and starts fishing around in it. You wonder if she's about to pay for a 24-pack of beer in silver dollar coins. Or, quarters. "There," says the old woman triumphantly, pulls something out of her purse and sets it on the counter. It's a shark's tooth. Okay. You try to keep your expression steady. You're impressed at the attendant's customer service face. They haven't cracked at all. "Ma'am," says the attendant, still without emotion. They shift to the left, turning to tap the cash only sign behind them, except the sign doesn't say cash only. The sign says human teeth only. Human is underlined. Twice. The old woman's chuckle sounds like sandpaper. "Got me," she says, reaching down to pick the shark's tooth back up. She tucks it back into her little purse and, without missing a beat, pulls out another small white object. You're standing far enough away from her that you can't possibly say for certain what the object is. You are somehow absolutely sure that it's a human tooth. The attendant takes it from her, holds it up to the light, and nods. You're pretty sure there are two options here. The first is you're losing your mind. The second, and far more likely option, is that this whole thing with the teeth, this is a bit. Really, that's the only thing that makes sense. This old lady must be a regular here, and this must be an old joke. Like the woman who came into your Starbucks and always ordered an iced mocha, hold the ice in the espresso, when she was actually just ordering a hot chocolate. She thought she was hysterical, and you always laughed because it was literally your job to laugh. The tooth must be fake. Any second now, the old lady's going to reach back into her little purse, pull out a rolled up 20, and you'll all laugh, right? Right. The attendant pushes a button on the register. The drawer opens with a ding, and they drop the fake tooth inside. The attendant pushes the door shut. Receipt? They ask. The old lady cackles and has her 24-pack. As she walks towards the door, she looks straight at you and grins. Half her teeth are missing. The other half are. She leaves, and the bells over the door rattle as it closes. That was. Next, calls the attendant. The person in front of you shuffles forward, dumping their chips and Oreos and wine on the counter. The thing is that the person in front of you, they're not acting like anything strange is going on at all. And it's not like they're on their phone or anything. They must have seen that whole exchange from even closer than you did. You dart a look around the mini-mart. Same fluorescent lights, same worn linoleum, same hum from the beverage coolers. Totally normal. The radio is now playing Summer of '69. The attendant has moved in front of the sign again. That's the scariest thing. Bryan Adams, that is the scariest part of all of this. Card reader's broken, said the attendant, as they ring up the bag of chips, Oreos, and the bottle of wine. The person in front of you nods, already digging through their purse. I saw. Oh shoot. I knew I should have stopped by the bank this afternoon. The attendant gives them a bored look. It's fine, they say, letting their purse drop back down to their side. Here. They reach up and you stand there, frozen, watching as the person in front of you reaches into their mouth with their thumb and their pointer finger. You stand there, frozen, watching as they pull. And then they're holding a tooth, their tooth, from their mouth in bloody fingers. Ugh, they say, wiping their mouth off with the back of their hand, just like the man in flannel had. Oh, God, had he... I hate doing that without an ATM. Automatic tooth machine? ATM? The person in front of you holds out their bloody tooth and the attendant takes it. They push a button on the register. The drawer opens with a ding. They drop the tooth into the drawer, and they reach in and they pull out 3 much smaller teeth and set them on the counter. Your change, they say. And you realize there's something wrong with their mouth. It's almost as if they don't have... Thanks, says the person in front of you, sweeping the teeth into their hands and dropping them into their purse. They tuck the wine into their purse too, and they gather up the chips and Oreos and head for the door. I mean, eventually, like, you're not going to be able to eat the chips and Oreos, right? Don't you need teeth for that? I guess Oreos you can dunk it in milk, but the chips, you're going to need teeth for that. Before they reach it, the door opens and someone else walks in. You can't make yourself focus on their face because you just realized what's hanging above the door and rattling, not bells. The new person comes in and stands in line behind you. Next, says the attendant. They look directly at you, still expressionless. You stand there frozen, and they say, You gonna pay or what? You're sure of it now. They don't have any teeth at all. Pay. You step up to the register. Card reader's broken, the attendant repeats. They still sound bored somehow. The person behind you shifts their weight from foot to foot. You take a breath and force yourself to speak. You don't take cash? Somehow you're not surprised when the attendant leans back and taps the sign. Human teeth only. Right. You look towards the door, your car sitting at the pump. Problem? Asks the attendant with their empty mouth. You look down at the worn linoleum. You breathe in the familiar gas station mini-mart smell. Through the ceiling speakers, I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys has started playing. It's all so normal. It's all so normal. The attendant's eyes flick towards the door. The person behind you coughs, impatient. Human teeth only. No problem, you hear yourself say. Under the attendant's watchful gaze, Bring your fingers up to your lips. Open your mouth as wide as you can. You tilt your head so that it's easier to slip your pointer finger and thumb inside, and you pinch one of your molars between them. You pull. You set your bloody tooth down on the counter. The attendant looks at you for a second. Their bored expression flickers. For a second, they look furious. They push a button at the register. The drawer slides open with a ding. They pick up your tooth and drop it in the drawer. Receipt? They ask. Bored again? No thanks, you say, trying desperately to ignore how your mouth tastes like copper. Next, says the attendant. Their gaze slides off you and to the next person in line. You don't let yourself freak out as you leave the mini mart. You don't let yourself freak out as you fill up your gas tank. You don't let yourself freak out as you start your car and drive carefully out of the lot, back onto the road that will take you to the highway. You don't remember much about the rest of your drive, but the first time you realize that there are other cars with you on the road again, you feel yourself start to cry. Somehow, you know that it's over. There's a gap in your mouth where a tooth should be. You are horribly, horribly certain that the tooth was a small price to pay to escape from the filling station. End. The hell did I just read? All right. I'm guessing that was the good ending. I'm going to go back and see what happens when you run. We are going to run. You run. The string of teeth above the door rattles as you pull it open and slam out into the night. The dog barks out in alarm. You throw yourself into your car and jam the keys into the ignition with shaking hands. The car starts, and you could cry with relief. You peel out of the parking lot and towards the highway, glancing into your rearview mirror every couple of seconds, sure that you're going to see something coming after you. You don't know what. You just know that you can't let it catch you. You turn back into the highway and floor it, desperate to get as much distance between you and the filling station as you possibly can. You keep looking behind you, even as the lights of the filling station disappear behind you and behind one of the craggy hills. Nothing's following you. Your breaths are harsh and shallow. You can feel your heartbeat in your teeth. You focus on the road, on getting the hell away from whatever the fuck that was. You're half convinced that you're having a nightmare right now. You kind of hope you are, because at least that means you'll eventually wake up. Nothing is following you. 10 minutes pass, then 20. The road behind you is empty. You got away. Except your tank is still empty. You start laughing. You can't help it. You don't know what else to do. How else to react to what you just experienced. You're glad no one else is in the car to hear you, because you must sound completely unhinged right now. But you can't control the high-pitched, breathy giggles that are forcing their way out of your mouth, any more than you can control the tears that are gathering in the corners of your eyes. You try to regulate your breathing, but the laughter just keeps bubbling up. You bring a hand up to cover your mouth, and it comes away wet. Like a switch is flipped, you suddenly notice the way your mouth tastes overwhelmingly of copper. Your lips are wet. You swipe your tongue around your teeth, trying to feel for an injury or something. Your teeth give when your tongue presses against them. You remember all of a sudden being a kid and having a loose tooth. How your parents told you not to mess with it, but you couldn't help wiggling the tooth back and forth with your tongue, trying to make it fall out. The taste of copper and the strange soft feeling of your empty gums after the tooth was gone. Don't mess with it, you think, desperate, but you know it's too late for that. You push against your two front teeth with your tongue, and a horrified thrill jolts through you as you feel them both slipping loose from their sockets. Then the ones beside them, and below. And now your mouth is filling up with blood, and your gums are soft and raw, and take a breath to scream, but as you do, the teeth begin to fall from your lips. And you look at your face in the rearview mirror, and all you can see is blood in your empty, gaping gums, and behind you, in the back seat, the gas station attendant with her expressionless face. Only they're not expressionless anymore. They're smiling, a horrible smile, and toot, 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 toot. And the last one I can click on. You wake up. Your phone alarm is chiming, and you reach over to turn it off. Falling asleep in a folding chair is never comfortable, but it's not like there's anywhere else in the station you can catch a quick nap when you're on your lunch break. You don't remember your dream. You think it must have been pretty weird. You were driving somewhere, maybe? Right. You stand up and stretch, rolling your neck from side to side. Time to head back out there. You push open the door to the back room and walk out into the mini mart, heading for the sign on the front door, or You push open the door to the back room and walk out into the mini mart, heading for the front door so that you can flip the out to lunch sign back around. You're just reaching for the sign when you see them. A person, 20 something if you had to guess, standing beside a beat up looking car by one of the gas pumps. They're staring directly at you. As you watch, the former filling station attendant smiles, revealing 2 rows of perfect teeth. Then they get into your car and drive away. That was the bad ending. Well, that was quite a story and kind of creepy. But I guess it was a horror story, and that is don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like the whole teeth thing. Don't like it. Nah. Anyways, this has been Element Quattro saying be good humans, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.